So it's Thursday, it's time for our mobiliser. Very gentle mobiliser this evening. Hopefully we'll unwind some of those stiff and tired muscles. We'll start out sitting up nice and tall, sit bones anchored down into the mat, spine long and tall. Imagine being gently lifted by the crown of the head. And we're going to rotate. Bring the hand to the outside of the knee, other hand onto the floor behind. Looking over our shoulder. And 3 or 4 gentle breaths in and out here. On that inhale, feel where the tension is. On the exhale, feel some of that tension releasing. And last time. Releasing that. Coming back to through our tall position here. And coming around to the other side. Again, looking over our shoulder, staying tall, keeping the sit bones anchored into the mat. Using our breathing. And one more breath in and out. Releasing back to center. We're going to come down onto our backs now. And from our back position here, we're going to come into tabletop and then bring in our windscreen wipers, dropping the knees out to the side. Inhaling as a drift towards the floor. Exhale, pull back to the center. Bring them to the other side. Exhale as you pull with the muscles on your side. Bring the legs and the hips back up to the center. Keeping both shoulders down on the floor or on the mat. Being nice and gentle here with these. And we're going to go once more to either side. And coming back to center. We're going to bring the 2 knees in towards the shoulders. Rounding the back. I'm going to lift the shoulders up off the mat. And gently rock. Forwards and backwards. Massaging the muscles along either side of the spine. And also working the abdominals. Bonus exercise. I can relax that a little bit, still holding the knees. Easing gently from side to side. And you can relax the head and shoulders down onto the mat at this stage if you wish. The side to side rocking is massaging the muscles again on either side of the spine. I'm going to hold on to the left knee now, keeping that pulled in as close to the shoulder as you can manage. Stretching the right leg away. Toe pointed. Lengthening through the thigh. Big breath in and then exhale as you bring that leg back in. Holding the right knee now, pulling it towards the shoulder and stretching the left leg away. Again, reaching with the toes. Nice long leg. And exhale, bring it in. Switching sides again. Inhale as you stretch away. And exhale, bring it in. Once more each side. Reaching away with the leg. Big stretch through the toes. Exhale, come back to center. Coming up to our sides. Head supported by the hand. Body in that tabletop type position on the other side, so right angle at the knees into the hips. Opening up at the shoulder. Bring the arm back as far as you can, so long as the two knees stay together. Exhale, coming forward. Inhaling back, going for a big stretch across the chest and shoulder. And on this repetition, we're going to switch into that overhead, circling up overhead as you return to the start position. Each time trying to feel that musculature around the shoulder. Feel it stretching and opening up. Great stuff. We're going to switch over to the other side. Everything stays the same. Head is supported by the hand. Knees into that tabletop position. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. We inhale as we bring that arm back. Exhale, coming forward. Again, keeping the knees together. Inhaling as the chest opens up, and exhale, pulling from the stomach as we bring the arm forwards again. Inhaling back, and this time we circle overhead. Again, opening up all those muscles around the shoulder. Trying to get a nice stretch through that circular movement. And once more. Great stuff. From here we're back onto our backs again. I'm going to roll up through the spine. So using our hip bridge, lifting the pelvis, printing the lower back into the floor, and slowly peeling the spine up away from the floor. Keeping the core engaged, keeping the glutes and hamstrings engaged. Up onto the shoulders, and then around the shoulders, round the upper back, to allow the spine to come down segment by segment, vertebrae by vertebrae. Keeping control, slowly coming down. Tilting the tailbone away then, and we reset and prepare to lift again. Core engaged, lower back printed into the floor. Glutes and hamstrings engaged as we peel up away. Coming right up to the shoulders. Rounding down each time. As you exhale and lift away from the floor, rounding up. Again, keeping in control, keeping it a nice gradual movement. And sequencing down. Upper vertebrae first. Rolling down through the back. Until we're down to the lumbar spine. Rolling that down bit by bit. And then releasing as the pelvis hits the ground. Coming into a hip release now, so we're going to start with the left leg. Feet stay around about shoulder width or hip width apart. Pushing, going to drop that knee out to the side. Sorry, not pushing yet. Once that knee has dropped out, then we push the heel away. We're rotating the leg internally, so turning the foot in, then drag the heel in towards your butt. Aiming for control here as that leg drops out. You shouldn't be rocking through the pelvis, it should be nice and steady. I find breathing here is helpful. If I breathe it in the stopped position, then I exhale to control the descent to the knee as it drops. Exhale through as I reach the leg away. Quick breath in at the end. And then exhale as I drag the heel in. So all the time trying to keep the lower back printed into the floor as we're doing this. We're going to do 2 more on this leg. Quite a simple exercise in theory. A really good one for helping release tension from the lower back, surprisingly. And now we switch sides. So my right leg here, letting the knee drift out to the side. Exhaling, pushing the foot away. Turn the leg inwards and drag the heel in towards the backside. So I breathe in that top position. Exhale as I control the leg out to the side. Exhale as I push the heel away. Quick breath in at the end. And exhale as I drag the heel back. This is one of those exercises where it's good to be a control freak. This is one of those exercises where if you do it quickly, there's pretty much no benefit. This one's all about slow and steady. As you let that knee drift out to the side, you're engaging the core, the pelvic floor, and the rotators of the hip. Last one. Great stuff. Going to come onto our sides. Head supported in the hand once again. Starting in a nice long position. We're going to bring the 2 feet up, pulling with the muscles just above the hips here, so we're into our hip hitch. We lift and we pause. Keeping that nice long body position all the time. And once more. And from there we bend the 2 knees. Keeping the thighs off the floor, we're going to lift this top leg. So you can have the hand down on the floor here for support to help with the balance. Or you can reach up for the ceiling with it if you've got good balance and control here in our side clam. So exhale as the leg releases down. Inhale in the bottom position here, open relatively quickly and slowly let it drift down like a deflating tire. Got 3 more of these. If you'd like to make this a little bit more challenging and you're able to maintain a steady speed, think of pressing the 2 heels in together, and that will get a lot more muscles in the legs working in this movement. Last time, exhaling as you come down slowly and steadily. And relax the legs down. And we're going to switch over to the other side. So same thing, we're starting out in our nice long position for our hip hitch. We inhale and then we exhale as we lift and hold just for a moment. So we're making sure the feet and the legs never resting on the ground. And we're pulling the hip bone towards the rib cage. The muscle here kind of in the back is doing most of the work on this. And that's why the long straight position is important. If we've hinged forwards at the waist, we're going to lose most of the benefit. Last 2. Pulling all the time through the side. And now we bend the knees and we come into our side clam. Again, you can bring the hand in front for balance. If you're a bit wobbly, you can reach for the ceiling either. Inhaling as we open out the knees, and then exhale, controlling down, aiming for a continuous movement. Keeping the thighs off the floor if you can. If you need to rest down that lower leg, that's fine too. If you can keep it lifted, that will be more beneficial. Again, aiming for that continuous movement as you release the leg down. Last 2. And relax the legs. And maybe breathe just a little sigh of relief. Okay, we're going to loosen up the back a little bit more again with our cat and camel. So knees are hip width apart, hands are under the shoulders. Take a nice deep breath in here in our neutral position. And as we exhale, we're bringing the chin to the chest, pushing the back up towards the ceiling and bringing the tailbone under. Exhale, pushing the tailbone back, lifting the chin. Big breath into the bottom of the stomach here. exhale. Start moving through the exhale, tucking the tailbone under, pushing the shoulders and back up towards the ceiling, chin onto the chest. Big breath into the back here. Feeling the muscles in the back, getting that stretch. Exhale as you move. So our breath in is at each end of the movement. Into the stomach here. Exhale to move. Into the back here. And again, exhaling as you move. Two more each way. And we release back to our neutral position. We're down onto our stomachs. Quick time check. Time for a sip if you got a bottle there beside you. And we're coming into our scorpion stretch next. So I'm going for my right leg first. I'm going to bring my right heel up. I'll lift my right thigh. And then I twist. Bringing the heel back across behind myself. Reaching for the hand with my heel. Now I'm not going to get anywhere near the hand, but I'm reaching in that general direction. So this will catch it across the front of the hip, upper thigh, and maybe across the shoulder on the other side. And whereabouts in the hip you feel it, you can adjust simply by bringing the heel up or down. With the heel down, it'll bring a little bit more towards the inner thigh. With the heel up, it'll bring it more towards the front and upper part of the outside of the thigh. So where you focus on is up to you. Do make sure to keep the core engaged as you're doing this. So you're keeping your stomach zipped up. That will help you make sure you get the most from this stretch. And it'll also help keep your lower back safe. I'm going to take another second or two here, and then we're going to release back to the floor. And from there, switching to the other side. Again, lying face down, we lift the heel first, then we lift the thigh, then we pull across, reaching that foot behind. And because we're going to spend a little bit of time here, we can relax into the stretch a little bit, in theory. Either way, we're going to use our breathing. whether it feels relaxed starting out or not. Take your deep breath in, exhale where the tension is. Feel like some of that tension has released with the breath. Again, play around with the angle by bringing the heel or the foot up or down. Whichever way you do, make sure you're keeping that thigh pulled back as well. Not much good bringing the heel up to your butt, but having the knee out way in front. You won't get any stretch on the hip flexors here if you have the knee in front. So that's why we're bringing that thigh back right from the very start. And again, taking another couple of deep breaths in and out here. And then we'll release back to the floor. And we're coming onto our backs. So, got a nice little stretch here. It's kind of an extension on the windscreen wipers. So we start out, legs are straight down, nice long straight body position, arms out to the side. I'm going to take a deep breath in and then I'm going to bring my left foot up towards my right hand. So I take my breath and then swing the foot over towards the hand and come back to center. Again, we take that breath and then exhale, pulling with the core. Bring the hand up towards, bring the foot up towards the hand. And again, breath in, pull with the core. As you exhale, bring the foot towards the hand. We're going to do twice more and then switch to the other side. So kind of a dynamic stretch here in that you're moving, you're not really holding it for long. And coming back. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn around here, or I'm going to be kicking the door. No fun for anyone. Well, maybe for you, hearing me cry out in pain. So I take our big breath in, and then exhale. Bring the foot up towards the hand. And back to center. Twice more here. And what you should be finding now is on those last couple, you're getting a little bit farther than you did at the start. Who knows, maybe you're getting quite a bit farther. Either way, we're coming back up. And we're going to sit, tailbones planted firmly down into the mat. We're going to bring 2 feet in towards each other. Sitting up tall, we're going to stretch the inner thighs here. And key thing here is that we want to be tall, we want the back to be straight. It's easier if you slouch, but you don't get the benefit. So keeping the back nice and straight, you should find it's catching you along here on the inner thigh. That's where you want to feel the stretch. If you slouch, you lose that. You can get the knees lower and closer to the floor, but it's less beneficial. So if you've got good flexibility, or better than me, you could reach forward and grab the toes rather than the ankles. So long as you can keep your back straight, that's brilliant. If that's easy for you, you can bring the feet closer to your groin. Again, so long as you can keep your back straight, whichever version works for you. I'm going to take a few nice deep breaths at whichever level is good for you. So each time when you inhale, feeling where the tension is, and on the exhale, feel some of that tension releasing. If you have trouble maintaining the tall posture here, you can bring the hands behind and you can butterfly with the legs. So you're doing little pulses, just gently up and down, maintaining that straight back position. So even though we're leaning back, we want to stay straight through the lumbar spine. And once you've butterflied for a few seconds, think of coming forwards again, keeping the spine straight and seeing can the legs drop a little bit lower into the stretch. And you'll generally find you can go just a small bit lower. That's all we're looking for, small improvements. So you can butterfly here, or you can bring the hands back, whichever way works for you. So long as you're keeping that back nice and straight, you're good to go. I'm going to release the right leg now. And I'm bringing my left foot in onto the thigh. Reaching forwards down along the right leg. You may find that your thigh, the top of your thigh and the quads here is inclined to fire. So if that's tensing up, ease back and come forward again, trying to keep the leg as relaxed as you can. That muscle tensing up there is a defense mechanism. It means the hamstring has sensed there's a lot of stretch, so the quads then would fire to protect the hamstrings. Once it's relaxed and it's staying relaxed, you can think of reaching slightly farther forward. Again, trying to keep fairly straight through the lower back. If you slouch, you've lost a stretch. So even just getting the lower back straight will help you get the most out of this. Worth noting the angle of your foot. Is it pointing out to the side? Is it pointing straight up? Have you got the toes pulled back towards you or stretched away? All of those things will influence how you feel this. I tend to keep the foot relaxed and fairly neutral. Again, you'll find the one that is least pleasant for you, and that's probably the one that will be the most benefit. Two more nice deep breaths in and out here, and we'll switch to the other leg. Gently coming out of that one, and stretch out the other leg. So foot coming to the inner thigh or the groin. And again, reaching down along the leg. And you will find you've got more mobility in one leg than the other. That's completely normal. If it's catching at the back of the knee, lift the knee ever so slightly, just enough to put a little bit of a bend in it. So rather than having it flattened down into the mat, you can lift it slightly. The bare minimum that you need to do to take the pressure out from the back of the knee. Again, we're looking to keep the lower back fairly straight here. If you've slouched into it, you're not getting the benefit. So focusing on where you feel the stretch each time when you inhale. Then as you exhale, release some of the tension from that area. See if you can come a little farther into the stretch. 2 more deep breaths in and out here. And we ease back out of that stretch. Come down onto our side. I'm going to stretch out the quads. So bringing the foot back up towards your backside, holding on to where the laces would be on a pair of trainers. And we want this top thigh to be slightly behind the lower leg. So if the knee is in front, we're not going to get the stretch. Once we bring it parallel or beyond, that's when we really get the stretch there into the thigh. Keeping the core zipped up as well, of course. Core, of course. That helps to stabilize the pelvis and make sure the quads aren't pulling too much on that. Keeping the lower back safe. Two more deep breaths in and out here. And release. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Getting yourself settled into the stretch. Once your balance is nice and steady, bring that thigh back slightly. You can bend the lower leg if you need to help with the balance. If you're wobbling around the place, that's going to make it very difficult for the muscles in the thigh to relax, so it'll make it harder to get a stretch. Again, keeping the core zipped up. Each time as you exhale, feeling the tension releasing from the hip and thigh. Feeling like you can increase that stretch just ever so slightly. We've got 2 more breaths in and out. And you can release out of that. There we go. Coming back up to our feet. Taking it nice and handy because we've been on the ground for a while. Looking up towards the ceiling, nice big breath in. Let the chin come down onto the chest as we exhale. Rounding the shoulders, rounding the back, releasing down towards the floor. Letting gravity do all the work. Bend your knees slightly if you need to. We don't want a lot of tension in the back of the leg, we want to be relaxing here. And you can rotate towards one side and then the other. Getting a stretch down along the side. So as you twist towards your right, stretch with the left. relax down here for a few moments. Letting the arms hang. Letting the head and torso hang. Each time as you exhale, releasing tension, feel the body drift a little bit lower into the stretch. Two more big breaths in and out. And on the next breath, we're going to gradually come up. So slowly drawing ourselves up away from the floor. Keeping the chin on the chest until the very end. Coming up nice and slow and steady. Bring the hips in under the shoulders. Bring the shoulders up and back. And we're back to our standing position. Head turns to the left. Drift it down towards the shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale, lift to center. Coming out to the right. Drop the chin to the shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale as you lift and come back to center. Last thing, palms pressing in together. Loads of tension through the arms, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Big breath in as we reach. Reaching for the ceiling, reaching for the corners, stretching towards the walls, and relax. And again, pressing the palms in, creating a good squeeze there. And big breath in as we reach up, reaching for the ceiling, reaching for the corners, reaching for the walls, and relax. And we're going to do that once more. Palms pressed, creating that squeeze through the chest, arms back. Big breath in as we reach. Reaching for the ceiling, reaching for the corners, reaching for the walls, and relax the shoulders and arms and let them drift. And there we go. That's the mobiliser done. Setting you up nicely for the weekend ahead. See you soon.